Her husband cheated with her twin sister while she was in labor giving birth to their first child. Yeah, you heard that right. Let me take you from the very beginning. Her name was Anna. She and her husband had been married for 6 years. They had been trying to have a baby for a long time, and when she finally got pregnant, it felt like a miracle. Anna had a twin sister, Olivia. They had always been extremely close, almost like one person. Olivia was the maid of honor at their wedding and was very excited about becoming an aunt. The pregnancy was difficult, but Anna's husband was by her side. He went to every appointment, helped prepare the nursery, and constantly told her how proud he was to become a father. Olivia also helped a lot. She stayed over, cooked for Anna, and kept her company when her husband had to work late. Anna felt truly supported by the two people she loved most. The day Anna went into labor was supposed to be the happiest day of their lives. The contractions were very strong, and the labor lasted almost 18 hours. Her husband stayed with her the entire time, holding her hand and encouraging her. Olivia was also in the hospital, waiting in the hallway and bringing water and snacks. Late at night, when the pain became almost unbearable, Anna asked her husband to step out for a moment to get her some ice chips and call their families. He kissed her forehead and left the room. About 20 minutes later, Anna felt a sudden need to use the bathroom. She slowly got up and walked into the hallway. The door to a small staff restroom right next to the delivery area was slightly open. She heard quiet voices and soft sounds. She pushed the door open just a little more. There, in the small, dimly lit room, were her husband and her twin sister, Olivia. Olivia's back was against the wall. Her dress was pulled up. Anna's husband was pressed against her, kissing her neck, his hands under her clothes. Olivia had her fingers in his hair and was whispering his name. They were having sex right there, while Anna was in active labor in the next room, fighting to bring their child into the world. Anna stood frozen in the doorway, still connected to the monitors, wearing the hospital gown, feeling the next contractions starting. Olivia saw her first. Her eyes filled with horror. Her husband turned around and his face went completely white. For a few seconds, no one spoke. The only sound was the beeping of the monitors from the delivery room and Anna's heavy breathing from the pain. Then Olivia started crying. "Anna, please, it's not what it looks like. We were just emotional." The labor was taking so long. Her husband tried to step toward her. "Baby, wait. I can explain." It was a moment of weakness. "I love you." But what happened in the minutes and hours after that moment? That was when the real nightmare began, because Anna still had to give birth. The doctors and nurses were trying to act professional while knowing what had just happened, and both her husband and her twin sister immediately started trying to convince her that it was just a stupid, emotional mistake, while she was still in pain, pushing their child into the world. But what happened in the minutes and hours after that moment? That was when the real nightmare began. Anna stood in the doorway of the small staff room, still connected to the monitors, feeling the next contraction building inside her. The pain was intense, but it was nothing compared to what she was seeing. Her husband quickly stepped away from Olivia, his face pale and panicked. Olivia pulled her dress down, tears already streaming down her cheeks. For a few seconds, the only sounds were the beeping of the monitors and Anna's heavy breathing. Her husband spoke first, his voice trembling. "Anna, please. This is not what it looks like. We were just emotional. The labor was taking so long, and we were both scared." It was a moment of weakness. It meant nothing. Olivia started crying harder. "Sis, I love you. You're my twin. I would never hurt you on purpose. It just happened. Please don't make this bigger than it is. Think about the baby." Anna felt another strong contraction. She clutched the doorframe for support. The nurse who had been with them earlier quickly left the room, avoiding eye contact. Anna looked at the two people she trusted most in the world and whispered through the pain, "I'm in labor, and this is what you do." The doctors and nurses tried to act professional, but the atmosphere in the delivery room had completely changed. Anna was back on the bed, breathing through the contractions, while her husband and Olivia stood on either side of her, both trying to comfort her. Her husband held her hand and kept repeating, "I love you. I'm here for you and the baby. Please focus on the birth. We can talk about everything later." Olivia wiped her tears and said softly, "I'm so sorry. I'll leave if you want. But right now, you need us. Let me be here for you like I always have been." Anna was in too much pain to argue. She pushed through the final stages of labor with both of them beside her, the two people who had just betrayed her in the worst possible way. When the baby finally came out and the doctor placed the newborn on her chest, Anna should have felt overwhelming joy. Instead, she felt a strange emptiness mixed with the physical pain. Her husband cried and kissed her forehead. Olivia cried too, calling the baby beautiful. The room was filled with the sound of the baby's first cries, but for Anna, it felt like the loneliest moment of her life. In the hours that followed, her husband and Olivia tried their best to act like nothing had happened. They took turns holding the baby, took photos, and told the nurses how happy they were to become parents. When Anna's mother arrived, her husband pulled her aside and quietly said, "Anna is very emotional right now because of the birth. She saw something that wasn't there. Please help her calm down." Olivia hugged Anna's mother and whispered, "It's all a big misunderstanding. We're here for Anna and the baby." They were already building a wall of denial around what had happened, trying to make Anna feel like she was the one imagining things or overreacting because of the hormones and pain of childbirth. But the hardest part came the next morning, when Anna was supposed to be discharged from the hospital, because that's when she received a message from one of the nurses who had been on duty that night. The nurse wrote, "I'm so sorry for what you went through, but you should know, this wasn't the first time. Your husband and your sister have been seeing each other for months. I thought you deserved to know the truth before you go home with them." But the hardest moment came 3 weeks later. Elena was recovering at home after another exhausting round of chemotherapy. She was sitting on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, when her phone vibrated with a message from an unknown number. It was a long conversation thread between her husband and Sophia that had been forwarded to her. The messages went back almost a full year. They had been seeing each other long before Elena's cancer diagnosis. There were photos, voice notes, and plans to meet when Elena was at medical appointments or too weak to leave the house. Sophia had written, "I feel guilty, but I can't stop. Being with you feels so right." Her husband had replied, "Elena is so focused on her treatments. I feel alive only when I'm with you." One message from Sophia, sent while Elena was in the hospital after her first round of chemo, read, "She's sleeping now. I can come over for an hour if you want." Elena read every single message until the screen went dark. She felt the room spin around her. The two people she had trusted most in the world had been together for nearly a year, even while she was losing her hair, vomiting from chemotherapy, and fighting for her life. When her husband came home that evening, he found Elena sitting on the couch with the phone in her lap. He saw her face and immediately knew. He dropped his bag and knelt in front of her, tears already in his eyes. "Elena, please. Let me explain. It started before you got sick. We never meant for it to go this far. We both love you. We were going to stop, I swear." Sophia arrived 20 minutes later after he called her in panic. She sat on the other side of Elena, crying, "You're my best friend. I love you more than anything. It was wrong, but we were both scared for you. Please don't push us away now when you need us the most." They both begged her to forgive them, to stay in the marriage, to focus on her health and the future. They promised it was over. They promised therapy. They promised to never see each other again. They used every word they could think of to make her stay. Elena listened to them without interrupting. When they finally stopped talking, she looked at both of them and said quietly, "I'm filing for divorce. I'm cutting off all contact with both of you. From this moment on, I will fight the cancer alone. I will not fight both the cancer and you at the same time." Her husband started crying and begged her to reconsider. Sophia tried to hug her, saying, "I'm your best friend. I can't lose you." Elena simply stood up, walked to the door, and asked them to leave. She changed the locks the next day. She blocked their numbers. She asked her doctor to note in her medical file that her husband and Sophia were not allowed any information about her treatment. The following months were the hardest of her life. The chemotherapy became even more aggressive. She lost all her hair. She lost weight. She spent many nights alone in the hospital, connected to machines, with no one holding her hand. But she was not completely alone. A few true friends stood by her. Her father came to every appointment and sat with her in silence when she was too weak to speak. She focused all her energy on surviving, not for them, but for herself. Her husband and Sophia tried everything. They sent flowers, letters, messages through mutual friends. They told everyone that Elena had pushed them away during her illness and that they were devastated, but respecting her wishes, Elena never replied. So that's the full story. Every single painful, shocking, heartbreaking detail. A woman wrote to me and asked me to tell her story. While she was fighting cancer, losing her hair and her strength, her husband and her best friend chose to betray her in the worst possible way. They tried to make her feel guilty for not forgiving them. They tried to turn her family against her. They tried to make her believe she was the problem. But she chose herself. She fought the cancer. She protected her future. And she rebuilt her life without the people who tried to break her when she was at her weakest. You can send your story to my email anytime, and I promise I'll tell it in the next episodes. Subscribe to the channel, drop a like on this video, and let the truth spread everywhere.